In this video we're going to be looking at something very simple, but something that is extremely important for how cavalry engagements play out and how well cavalry performs in the game overall. So what I've done here is I've lined up units of several weight classes up against these bejeweled nobles. The bejeweled nobles are not important, or the bejazzled nobles, the bejizzled nobles. We have very heavy shock, we have medium melee, we have light melee, we have heavy shock, and we have Persian scouts. They are very light. So I believe we have both from very light to very heavy. Now what we'd see if this test was done in the previous patch was that when an attack order was given, these units would all charge at the same speed. Now this should not happen now because the charge speeds of the different units has been changed. So I just need to pause it a bit because I need to explain something. I think the impact damage that a cavalry unit does against on the charge against an infantry unit is determined by the speed and the mass of the cavalry unit, ignoring any modifiers that the infantry unit might have. So if you reduce charge speed, you also reduce impact damage. So they have toyed around a bit with the mass values of some of these units to ensure that they do the same amount of damage to infantry. So let's just see how that plays out in terms of, I think they are fairly even. No, a bit of readjustment here. So they are, let's see here. Yeah, this is a fairly straight line, not completely lined up here, but it should be enough to see the difference. And just before the first unit hits, I'll pause it, and if this plays out the way I expect it to, then what we should see is the heaviest unit being the last unit. And pause it just at the point of contact. So you can see that the Persian scouts, they are making contact. The heavy shock cavalry is slightly behind. Here the light melee cavalry has made contact, but a bit after the Persian scouts, and again these are not perfectly lined up, but it shows a general trend here. The medium melee cavalry is further ahead than both very heavy shock and heavy shock, and very heavy shock is the furthest out here. So what this means is that your heavy cavalry units are going to be less responsive. They're not going to be able to dart out as quickly as they were able to before to stop charges, and light units are going to get there much quicker, be able to intercept faster, and we'll just see what happens on the charge though in terms of mass. Here we have heavy shock just annihilated the bejeweled nobles, 100 kills on the charge. Same story with the Prestigbans, annihilates the bejeweled nobles on the charge. That unit is dead. And now the medium melee, 19 kills on the charge. The light melee, 19 kills on the charge. So, and of course the Persian scouts, they won't do too much against these bejeweled nobles here on the charge, but if heavy cavalry makes contact, it still absolutely shreds infantry units, but the difference in charge speed is noticeable, and it will be very interesting to see how this plays out, because this opens up for some very interesting tactics with most notably slingers and skirmish cavalry, also light cavalry to work as bait, which heavy cavalry can never hope to catch. So a nice addition, nice change that I quite like. Impact damage, still ridiculous, but having the heavier cavalry units actually be slower on the charge, it's why it wasn't in the game from the beginning, no idea, but good that it is in it now. But the annoying thing is, I've played so many games where it hasn't been this way, and that's a bit annoying, because later in the game's life cycle is when changes that should be in there from the beginning are put in. But that's CA for you. Strength and honor.